forgot about that. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom. And tonight we've gathered to talk about the opener for Series 13, which has now been titled Doctor Who Flux. And of course, we know a few people have many variants on that name that we won't discuss. But the opener being, of course, the Halloween apocalypse, which introduces us to some interesting characters. We also just Vendor and, of course, Carvanista, your neighborhood friendly dog who happens to, be part of a race that's come in here. Plus, he's got a bad looking weapon. He does. Okay. But it's kind of nice to know that man's best friend's there in case of a disaster. Then again, it can't be any worse than when the trees were going to save the planet back in the forest of the night. But all right. But I want to hear what you guys had to say about it. I want to hear what you thought about it. So we're going to start at the top this time. So we're going to start with Doctor Who Commentator. Go on ahead. Let me know what you thought about the Halloween apocalypse.
Well, given we're doing this a week later now, this finally gave me the opportunity to actually do some proper creative writing. So Doctor Who returns with an explosive first episode of a 6-part adventure known as Doctor Who Flux, bringing a welcome return to old foes such as Sontarans and the Weeping Angels, but also a new enemy known as the Swarm. The episode also gives introduction to comedian John Bishop as the friendly and lovable Dan Lewis. Through who the episode takes the time to promote Liverpool through the museum and site bank. The episode also introduces us to Claire and Binder, whose stories will probably be made clear as the series continues, but also Dan's love interest, Diane, who seems to be very important. We are also introduced to Caravista of the Lipari. While brilliantly acted, his motivation felt confusing as he was meant to save Dan, yet kept threatening to kill him. However, interestingly, Dan seemed not to be affected by his Jedi mind trick. Could this be a sign of things to come and why he and Diane are important? And what of the entity known as the Swarm and his sister? He knows the Doctor. Could he be the Master on his final regeneration again? Sacha Dhawan is rumoured to be in this series. And just what was Mr. Williamson building in 1820? Pari gets old, gets fast. Overall, all this, along with the callbacks to the Division, the Hopper virus, the Vortex energy, and even Nitro 9, have made it for an interesting setup for this series-long adventure.
We can only hope the Nitro 9's leading to something, but of course we all know it. I'm not kidding. It's every time they keep talking about past companions and all that, it never happens anymore. It's like, I really would like it to. All right, Bo, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a really great episode. It was a really good start to the series. It was very, very gripping. I liked the bit at the beginning where the Doctor said to try to, get her handcuffs to release. Like she said, release to them in different ways, but they wouldn't release until her and Yes landed in the TARDIS. I like the main villain of this episode called Swarm. I like the way he was able to absorb people and kill them. And I like the companion Dan. I thought it was a very funny companion, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him throughout the series. And I also like that dog-like character called, is it the Calvinista? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, I like the way he broke into Dan's house and he tried to do a bit of a Jedi mind trick thing on him. It was also interesting to see a few of the characters before we see them again in a future episode of the series. Characters such as Claire, the Weeping Angels, Venda, and the Sontarans. And even though we only saw the Sontarans briefly, I like that kind of classic era vibe about them, and they're kind of a little bit more menacing. as they should be. And also regarding the flux, is that just a space hurricane or is that an antimatter wave? If it is an antimatter wave, then it'll be interesting to wonder if Omega might be responsible for it. Yeah, that's all I have to say at the moment. It was a very good start to the series, and I hope that the other episodes will be as interesting as this one.
Unfortunately, it never turns out to be Omega, as much as we hope it would be, and all that. But like I said, it's looking like it's going to be. Yeah, this was an interesting opener. I got to say that much. And then next week's going to be War of the Centaurs, and I think week 3 is, and I'll catch me if I got this wrong, it's Once Upon Time. And then the 4th episode is going to be Village of the Angels, which, before I move on, I think is a missed opportunity. They should have called it City of the Angels and then opened it up with a song by Journey. City of the Angels. Okay. Okay, let's go on to Graham. Graham, what did you think of this opener?
Just on a side note, screw Nick Cage, City of Angels. But I digress. There was an awful lot happening here. This is how you start something mid-adventure, and you've got a lot of melting facets in the gumbo pot, so to speak. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together over the 6 chapters. But I enjoyed this for an opener. The effects were great. As I mentioned earlier on in the week in the chat, the only one wee minor gripe I had was that they were posting to this where the an issue for the sound effect engineer as opposed to Sikanak and Ola. He deserves a swift kick in the crown jewels for that. They don't need to try and fix that. That's been the past few years. That's happened a few times. But yeah, interesting setup. The Cavanistra. Okay, people will say, "Oh look, it's a big dog," but no, it was interesting. The guy played him well, and he had an ulterior motive. You thought he was kidnapping them when he was actually saving them. So that's different from an interesting race. It'll be interesting to see how the flux, the origin of the flux comes to be over the 6 parts. John Bishop, great start, great introduction. But again, these comedians always amaze you. You know, the usual twits on Twitter assume, oh, look, another comedian, it's going to be crap. And they don't learn the mistake that was done by Catherine Tate. These comedians can act and they can portray decent characters if the writing's up to par. And so far, for his first round, that's a good. Yaz and the Doctor, solid as ever here. And it'll be interesting to see how Claire's story ties in, obviously, with her meeting her out of order at the start of this episode. But all in all, solid start to the 6-part saga. And here's hope they can keep it up, and we'll see where it goes for here.
I know, it almost made me want to, for some reason, when I watched this episode towards the beginning, I kept having this flashback to when I was a kid. It's a scene with Timmy and Lassie. There's Lassie barking away, and it's like, what's that girl? Earth's going to be consumed by some temporal spatial event? Okay. Okay. And you got to save mankind? Okay. All right. Hey, William, what's your view on it?
Hey, now, how you doing, everybody? This is unusual because this is a first part of a 6-part story.
Mm-hmm.
And as an introduction, you are noticing what each episode will consist of, because next week is a Santaran story. So that's why you show them it there. You're going to see an episode with the Weeping Angels. And that's going around the past. That's another episode. See, they're already showing you the breakdown of what each episode consists of. And of course, the main story right now is that, you say, antimatter, whatever, that's destroying planets and all that. And this character that supposedly knows the doctor from the past and who's been in prison for such a long time, which is unusual because of it was from, if the Gallifreyans is the one that did that. I'm shocked that it hasn't been written in history about what crimes this specific person committed to be in prison like that. What was unusual is, of course, is what Graham said about the episode with Claire, because she already met the doctor and they have not met her. But in this episode, she got grabbed by a weeping angel and ended up going somewhere else. So does that mean, which is unusual, that because of the angel, she's going to meet the doctor? And then after the meeting of the doctor, she's gonna run into the angel again and go back to where the doctor met her again. There's gonna be a continuous cycle for Claire. I'm like, wow, that's unusual there. Because that's wild. But what I liked it, what I wish the writer would get into is, of course, of Jazz is nudging the doctor to open up about, you can say, about herself and about her past and all that, and she just she just blows her away. And it's unusual because I remember all of us in one way or another. I noticed that the doctor has talked about Gallifrey and other stuff like that, and then for some bizarre reason, this one wants to be a mysterious doctor again, like Sly McCoy was. But I'm like, it's gonna be unusual because this is only a 6-part story. Now, because the one gripe that people are very griping about in the internet, that this story had not mentioned anything whatsoever of the timeless children. Excuse me. Next year is the final 3 episodes, and probably that will be a 3-part story to solve that shenanigans. Don't even think about it. Just watch these 6 episodes and see what anything will be the consequences of this story to either the doctor, the companions, or even the villain of this story. Considering so much consumption of galaxies and planets, a lot of deaths has occurred. So that's going to be unusual there. So I don't know. I don't even think the doctor can fix this because the Time Lords, we don't know nothing about them. So whether they're still in hiding or we'll try to fix it. But because then again, we think they all got destroyed in the there. It's a good opening for a 6-part story. I can't wait to see the other one, the next part story, to see how it goes like that. But I hope in one of these episodes, the Doctor and Yaz get to talk, like the Doctor has done with past other companions. Doesn't have to reveal anything that we don't know. Just open up to Yaz. She's been. I mean, even though we only see an episode, like the last season, a lot of time has been passing by with the Doctor and Yaz. I'm a little bit confused about one thing about Yaz. How the hell she still works as a cop when she's been missing work all this time, man? That's the one thing that bugs me out. That's my opening statement there.
Because she keeps getting dropped off 5 minutes before she left.
Let's hope so. Well, considering the beatdown the TARDIS has been getting, I don't know if it's gonna be able to work like that anymore.
Yes, the TARDIS is bleeding. That right there, that part still freaks me out. It's like, okay, somebody better get the Jiffy Lube. Okay, let's see. Callan, what was your view on this opener?
Oh well, hope everyone likes it. I'm not quite so keen. It's the usual high energy stuff. There's loads of facets I just didn't like. I mean, only race it and keep that fleet halfway across the universes. That's one powerful fleet of ships, and they can just get there pretty much any time they like and save it. Well, they can't stop the Fox with that kind of power. Wow. All right. So I didn't really. I think it was a bit too high energy for me. No, their Sontarans are good old-fashioned Sontarans. They are real Sontarans. And Weeping Angels. Yeah, then I contradicted the first Weeping Angel story so far. I don't think. This Flux is some powerful stuff of words. I don't know. Oh, I hope it all ties up nicely after the 6 episodes or the 9 episodes or whatever it is. Let's hope and pray. Yeah, but still, everyone acted very well. Yeah, that's why. That's what I've got to do.
Yeah, it was an interesting opener. Plus, like I said, oh goodness, a lot of stuff going on at the beginning. And that was one complaint some people had. Seemed like they were jumping from one place to the next a lot. But I'm like, there's been quite a few Doctor Who episodes that's done that in the past as well. But so hopefully they're going to be able to slow this thing down, wrap it up a bit, and do it in a, pretty decent manner. Because, it's not like the old days where we had 6 or 7 or however many 25-minute serials to tell a story. But this time they're going to do, the full 6 chapters, which is going to be interesting to see how Chibnall, wraps this up, given the circumstances. Plus, as you guys brought up, we now know that the Weeping Angels are involved in this mess somehow. And then, of course, we got the Sontarans going back to the warlike guys, not the happy-go-lucky comic relief as far as we've seen. Plus, I keep reminding people, it's like, come on, we've had short Sontarans, we've had tall Sontarans, we've had Sontarans with 3 fingers, Sontarans with 2 fingers. Like I said, my ones from the end, the Invasion of Time looked like they were trying to give you the shocker. But, because it's like, it's not unusual to see different clone batches and all that. So it's going to be interesting how they play out, especially in, I believe it's the Crimean War. So I'm getting excited about that. Plus, we're introduced to this villain in this episode that he's been in prison for a very, very, very long time. And it's going to be interesting to find out, just who this being actually is. And, what did they do to get, locked up for time immemorial? And it was dirt obvious from the first second that the 2 people who show up are with the division and all that, because they're bearing the same, rifle that Gat and, of course, the Joe Martin doctor had back in, Fugitive of the Jadoon, recognized it right off the bat. Why they didn't stick to that design and why they went to clear plastic things called stasers, we don't know. But I like that rifle design. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ties up. Okay, well, DWC, you already got your hands shot up, so let's start with you.
Yeah, I just found another bit of interesting usual tidbit is that by Dan Starkey, which surprised me because the voice seemed completely different. It sounded a lot more like Lynx and even Steyr from the respective episodes. And interestingly enough, Dan Starkey can do an impression of that, so that's not too surprising. And on another though, one thing not exactly annoying, I kind of understood why they did, but did anyone else notice that when it came to the Weeping Angels, Claire ended up doing a bit of exposition on them? I mean, seriously, as she's walking, she's just saying, "Don't blink, you can't blink." And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I get it. You need to do that because there are probably people who don't know it. But so I'm like, but if you don't realize that at that point, I mean, if you didn't even realize that from the point that it suddenly got to the Weeping Angel suddenly moved, I think the clue was quite there.
Plus, I'm still trying to figure out what she thought what kind of protection her front door was going to provide. It's like, come on, it's a Weeping Angel. Keep it in sight, back away from it as fast as you can. But no, I'll back myself up against my front door because the front door of my house is going to hold it out. That part I couldn't figure out either. I'm like, sorry, it's a Weeping Angel. I'm going backwards. I don't care if I got to blink one eye at a time. Oh man. But okay. Anything else anyone wants to bring up? Okay, looks like William, you definitely got your hand up. Let's see what you got to say.
Yeah, here's a question. Maybe somebody could, but I forgot the scene. When Claire was at the door trying to put her key in the door, and the angels is coming towards her, did she take her keys out of her purse or out of her pocket?
Does it matter? She dropped it.
If it was her purse, she should have took out a compact and had the mirror in front of her to keep the angel in his place. That's what she needed to take out.
It was her handbag. It wasn't her handbag.
Who knows? Maybe she ain't the vain type, Or, then again, knowing the contents of a woman's purse, it could have taken her a good half hour to reach the compact. I'm not kidding. I from my experience, in 50 years on the planet, I can tell you right now, a woman's handbag can be the equivalent of a small TARDIS. Because they flip that thing open and there's like 100 billion things in there wouldn't fit normally, but somehow they're in there. Let me see. Tire iron. Let me see, carjack.
Yeah.
It's like I'm prepared for every situation. Small assault weapon. Yeah. Yeah. So anything's okay. Grand, looks like you got your hand up. You go on ahead.
Yeah. Just to pick Will up on his point about people moaning. Technically, they did. They're not paying attention. Because if you recall, the Doctor had a conversation with Cavanistra about the division. So they're slowly touching back on that. It's just people want to find a reason to gripe, and hell, it's internet, usual. So she's trying to find out more information about the division to obviously see what the deal is with what she was shown in the Matrix.
I know it's the usual bunch. Like I was watching a video today, or was it yesterday, by Mr. TARDIS, where he called out one of the usual suspects again, because they made this big issue in their, in this video, this, other person shared with someone else about the fact that, one of the lead actors in this story, is Dan's, girlfriend. I believe she called her Di. Am I right? I can't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but this actress who's been in the industry for over 12 years, has done stage, screen, and all that. They were sitting there going on about how she was stunt casting because she was born without one arm. And I'm like, they didn't mention it in the episode. They didn't make a big deal about it. Yet this was for some reason they focused in on this. I'm like, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I'm like, it's like, really? So just crazy shit.
I'm actually surprised that Shadow didn't get beat out of the head with the whole, oh, look, he's drawn attention to poverty with throwing a food bank in there. But there we go. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Anybody else? Got anything you want to throw in? Any favorite parts you want to mention?
Hang on.
All right, go on ahead, Graham. Since you already got your hand up.
That's the one thing I forgot to mention. The Swarm's sister. The only thing that was a little bit confusing for me was why the hell was she in the Antarctic the Antarctic Circle with that fella? And why did she obviously destroyed the Lipari's beacon, because it would have picked up they two. But I'm interested to see how she ended up and why she ended up in that form.
Yeah, that's a good question. How did she wind up, being an Earth wife with no memory of what she'd been before? It's like, too bad that poor guy got whacked before he saw the true evil demon his wife was.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, DWC, go ahead.
Something I completely forgot to put in my pick. One thing that did actually have me really griped about the Lupari. I mean, their entire point is that they're bioconnected to humans, and so their whole point is to protect them on an extinction event or something along those lines, correct? Okay. Where the hell were you guys when Davros stole the Earth?
That doesn't suit the argument.
Or let's go for 149 years into the future. Where were you guys during the Dark invasion of Earth? Where were you guys during every major event that has happened to the Earth? This was the one time, because the flux is the only thing that would have got it there. Pretty sure Davros tried to wipe out the entire universe. Count it.
Yeah, where were you, man's best friend, when we needed you?
I blame old Yella.
Yeah. So my theory is why you call it like Davros in order to distract him throughout this giant chew toy to the other side of the galaxy, and they all went running after it.
I say they were busy getting drunk in Dundee.
Don't you dare! I'll give them the judo. The effect they used for the Lupari ships forming the barrier towards them, that was pretty freaking cool. I like that effect.
One of the things I thought about when I saw the Carvanista and they started going out, or Cavanista, when they started talking about, their rule to mankind, is I had a Jack Crow moment from Vampires where I pictured him, meeting up with this character and going, okay, let me, just one question. Do you guys, clean yourselves like dogs do? If so, why do you even leave your home planet then? But okay.
And also, do they sniff each other's bums?
Oh, jeez. Well, on the plus side, at least we know that Cavanistra's passionate about his mummy. Because, we told that. Yeah. So, yeah, he's a mummy's dog. So, yeah.
It's like, come on, here's a race that you could probably send them running with a rolled up newspaper. Bad dog. Bad. There was more than a few people comparing him to like Chewbacca and all that. And finally, on one comment box, I busted in and said, "Now, guys, would you please quit picking on that poor Ewok with pituitary disorder? Come on, just because he's taller than the rest of them, doesn't mean we got to pick on him. That's sizest or whatever you want to call it. So, any other points, things like that you want to talk about while we're up here?"
Jacob Anderson's Vinda. It'll be interesting to see how he ties in. Obviously on the space station Rose. Okay,
like that wasn't deliberate.
Yeah. And the whole Dan, nice to meet you, Dan. Run for your life. There was quite a few throwbacks to the first episode there, but there we go. So well done, Chibs. You're throwing in some fan service there, even though you'll never please a few of them.
He won't please the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's back on the Billy Piper's got to come back train. I'm like,
oh, shut up.
I got a list of people 50 miles long who should come back before Billy Piper does. It's like, come on, haven't we played Rose out just a bit too much? Sheesh. Okay, anything else?
Eventually, a Rose does end up stinking. So we don't need that smell around here.
Okay, well, if no one has anything else, any other questions, queries, comments, then we'll go ahead and call this session to a close. But before we do that, we're going to rate this sucker. It's going to be hard to do given this is only chapter 1. But, let's take it as it is. What do you feel about it as an opener? What's your score? So starting from the bottom, Graham, out of 10, how do you rate, the Halloween Apocalypse?
Well, as I say, there's a lot of crabs screaming at the top of the melting pot here in this first chapter, but solid effects, solid acting. John Bishop's really impressed me for his debut. I'll give it 8 out of 10.
Okay. William?
Well, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's only a first part out of 6 of a long story. But I hope that everything that's been either asked or shown in this episode does get answered during the rest of this 6-part story. Because if you leave something hanging, all you're going to get out of it is gripe. That's what I'm going to say. You're going to get gripe out of it.
Going to get gripe anyway. Who cares?
The timeless children ate my dog. The timeless children stole my homework.
Like I said, that's next year. That's next year's problem.
Okay, Callan. What do you rate it out of 10?
I don't give much a low number because people worked long and hard and did their best in this job, and the special effects are very good. And John Bishop was good, and everybody, all the cast did all right. They all nailed it. So I'll give this 7 out of 10.
Okay. Bo?
I'm giving it 8.5. It's a really great episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Sontarans in the next episode.
All right. Doctor Commentator?
I like the effects, I like the story, but so much of the Lupari just didn't make sense to me, so I'm giving it a 7.
I know, I keep forgetting the race name is the Lupari. I keep thinking it was the Calvinista but Calvinista is just one guy. Okay. I always do that. All right. So me personally, like I said, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff thrown together, but like I said, it's early days yet. It's the opening chapter. So I'm going to throw it an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed the episode, even though, like I said, it was all kinds of weird stuff going over last week. Like, here's my other favorite one. The CGI at the opening was not to par.
It was cringe. Yeah, I've heard that.
What episode were you watching? Because it's like, do you want to go back to the wobbly sets in the Merca?
Actually, the scary thing is some of them probably did, but oh well,
it's very unusual considering this 6-part story and the 3 we get next year has all been already recorded, and they started recording in November of last year, and it was done. It was finished in August. That's a lot.
October. I know.
No.
October this year.
I'm talking about the 6-part.
Oh, the
They
sixth
added
part.
the
Oh, yeah.
6-part was done by August. The 3 other one was done by October. But that's a lot of long. That's a big long time for 6 episodes, considering us in the States where we got 12 to 20 episodes. And
I
then we've
remember
done
you.
it.
Pandemic, mate. Pandemic.
Yeah, because if you'll notice, for you folks out there, if you've been catching any of the little challenges videos they've been doing, like they had the Suntaran catapult challenge where they're trying to knock over cans with a slingshot, or then they had this little thing there you had to hit a racket, with a tennis racket to knock the cans over. You can look for them on YouTube. They're these cute little videos. Like they had the Halloween challenge where they had to catch so many candies in a little plastic bucket. They threw 20 at each of them to see who got the most. But I'm not talking about the talents themselves. Look at the room they're in. They're standing inside a room where literally everything is green screen all around them. It's all curtains and all that. That's because they couldn't travel anywhere due to COVID this year when they were filming. Nearly everything you're going to see, if it's a large, like location or anything like that, if it's not somewhere in Cardiff, it looks like somewhere else, like a sci-fi world or another part of the planet. It was green screened because the COVID travel regulations, they'd have been quarantined 2 weeks there, 2 weeks back, and all that. And they couldn't do that. So so look for that if you see those little videos they did for the different challenges. It's one huge green screen room like they used for like Avengers and all that they've set up. Okay, well, folks, now that this session's come to a close, we'll catch you all next time when we sit down and have a talk about War of the Suntarans, which will bring in Mrs. Seacole to you and the Crimean War and and accept your invitation to slaughter and all that happy stuff. So
no doubt they'll offend the Asian population somehow, according to Twitter.
And the potatoes.
Yeah. Idaho is revolting. Okay. Have a good one. Take care, everyone. We'll see you all next week.
Later.
Right.